you're here watching this, then that means one of three things. But ultimately, it's a specific general question, a question that I had to answer as well. Who am I? Who can actually answer that question? There are people out there right now who would tell you who they think you are. But truth be told, only you can answer that question. The thing is, how other people see you is based on how you view yourself. Let that language sink in. Basically, what a mirror does is reflect light. That is the reason why when you stand in front of it, you see yourself based off of how your eyes perceive the light that is in front of you. The good and the bad. It's really how you decide to judge the light that you see. The truth about the light is it needs to be a part of who you are in order for you to see it. It can also be felt, oftentimes described as a warm feeling inside your heart. Some lights can also be heard depending on the frequency of the light. I won't get into it, but maybe this will give you some understanding. My name? My name is Anthony, but for most of my life, everyone has always called me Tony. In an attempt to become popular, I gave myself the name Tony Time. Time for the girls. And ever since, for the last couple of years, I've been on a roller coaster, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. For years, everyone has known me as this avid party promoter, the life of the party. Hopefully, one day I'll be able to illustrate what that life was like. But this story isn't about that. It's about what happened to me 8 months ago. You see, I was running from my life, running from who I was, and masking it into someone everyone wanted to be around. I told myself sometimes the best ways to deal with pain is to just have fun. I've had the pleasure of meeting thousands of people from all walks of life, all over the United States and other countries. Some cared about me, some made fun of me, some turned out to be really good friends, some became family, but in the long run, none of them actually knew anything about me. The question you might be asking is, why was I pretending to be someone? Someone is the question. Someone that will be heard and seen. Well, 8 months ago, I got the answer to that and so much more. For the better part of the last few years, I have become a prominent name in the music industry. I had songs playing on the radio. I had the crowd of people around me, producers, artists, girls. I was traveling, recording, but I was unhappy. I was unhappy because I didn't have my children with me. While everyone was relying on me to make them dance, make them smile, make them be happy, make them have joy and enjoy the music, I myself was in the darkest place, smoking and drinking around the clock, trying to ease the pain on my heart, my mind. I was in a mess. I was a mess until 8 months ago. 8 months ago, I was pushed into a time of isolation. It's what I would describe as my mirror moment, being alone with God. While in my mirror moment, I got the chance to see myself for the first time in 28 years. Let's just say I didn't like what I was seeing. So much so that I refused to be seen at all. I refused to go outside, talk to friends, refused to eat, refused to sleep. I just refused. I was ashamed of what I saw. I was so hard on myself that I developed a few minor health complications along the way due to the fact that I was upset with who I pretended to be. But what was I gonna do about it? That was the question. Now, during this time, I began to hear and feel God so much so that I decided to give myself back to Him. I became naked in front of Him, figuratively speaking, obviously. While in this period of isolation, I realized that all I was doing was because of the pressures of my childhood and that I never really got over them. The pressing of my life wasn't meant to crush me, but the pressing was something to press something out of me. In this, I found inspiration. I realized that I couldn't be the first person in the whole universe in time to feel like this, to be going through this. I couldn't be the only person who had made mistakes in life and hated the mistakes that he made. So, this inspired me. Not only did it reconnect my faith with God, faith in myself, but I needed to share how I did so that the next boy, the next man, the next father, the next mother, the next person who would be in their mirror moment could navigate it. So I decided to do what I've always loved doing, write. Okay, to be honest, I wasn't sure what to write about, so I started from the beginning. I realized I was picking significant defining moments, but it was so much that I decided to focus on seasons of my life that impacted me. The task of writing a book proved to be difficult, not to mention having to deal with a lot of personal things while writing. With every writing session, I began to change who I was and what I value. I went on an emotional roller coaster, understanding that I never understood my emotions and who I was and why I was the way I was. In the middle of writing, I found out that I would become a father again. I felt an immense amount of pressure, but happiness, and also a little bit of worry. See, I'm 28 years old at the time. No house, no car, just $1 and a dream and faith in God. I began to share my ideas about this book with my soon to be wife, and she backed me 100%. In that moment of her utterly trusting me and believing in me, not expecting anything in return other than my love, my presence, made me understand love so much more. I asked her to marry me. In the midst of all these things, the new beginnings, the changes, I received a phone call to help out with finding a location for a church service. After helping out with that, I was also tasked with running the media portion of the church service. The music, the video, the film, kind of what I've been doing for myself for the last couple of years, but only this time in church, for God and his people. I felt like I had found my purpose. I considered all these things as a sign from God that he wanted me to get closer to him. Still finding time to write this book, I was hit with a bright idea. Why not give my story some music? So after I finished writing the book, I decided to write an arrangement of music that told the story on how I was feeling while writing the book. Music has always been like therapy for me. Every song I've ever created was me venting. Scrolling through IG one day, I saw a producer by the name of TJ and thought he would be perfect to work with. I liked his ears for the sound of music. I just was about to write him on IG. I wanted this project to be special, to be led by God. So I erased the message and said, if it's meant to be, God will send him my way. A few weeks later, that same producer reached out to me. He asked me if we could work together on some music. Another sign from God. Monologu. Our first time in the studio, we spent time talking about God, praying, talking about our journey. God is amazing. When it was time to get to work, we created effortlessly. I can't speak. LOL. It was like God helped me create a new sound. I didn't just make music. I was music. I became what I was speaking about. I poured out my emotions. I wanted every song to glorify God and be able to be meaningful to the book, to my journey. So I just kept pouring. It took about 4 months to complete this project. In the meantime, I got married, had a son, planted a church in another island, and began creating even more. I got another bright idea, and his name was Omar Tobias, who is a self-taught animator. Why not create some animation visuals to further bring all these ideas to life? Together, we've been carefully curating animated visuals to tell my story, our story. In all, this project has taken 8 months of work and countless man hours to put together. So, to everyone watching this short monologue, thank you for giving it light and love. And I pray you enjoy and be inspired by our art project in its immersiveness, fullness, the emotion, the ups, the downs, the highs, and the lows. This is Anointed, Lone with God. Language speaks louder than words.